Champions Arsenal look to have missed a great opportunity to go top for the first time this season. David Rocastle's penalty miss proving costly at Chelsea. A late finish, though, there. There ain't no stopping him now. Gary Lineker warming up for Poland with a hat-trick for Spurs this afternoon. That's 4-2 for Gary. Ian Wright of Crystal Palace, his 5th goal of the season, and another demoralising blow for Everton. Outclassed last week, outgunned today. No Clive Allen, but there's only one David Oldfield. His 4th in 3 games against his old club Luton as Manchester City really find their feet in the First Division. Same goes for Forest, different circumstances though. Lee Chapman's 4th of the season as Charlton lose for the 4th successive time. No wins at home, but the most formidable away team in the First Division. Norwich take the honours at Millwall. Mark Bowen again, the winner. And way to go, Mo. Maurice Johnston's unselfish grafting in Europe in recent games, rewarded with a goal today against second-place Hearts. Rangers on the move. Rangers winning, and the leaders in the Scottish Premier Division this morning, Aberdeen, drew 1-1 with Chelsea, the goal scorers from that match a little later. With Celtic, rather, 1-1, the goal scorers later. Scores and scorers then in the First Division here in England. That's a latest score at Stamford Bridge. Graham Roberts' injury attributable to that, really, because he was having treatment for about 4 minutes, so we probably 2 or 3 minutes yet away from a final score there. Millwall 0, Norwich 1. They haven't won at home this season, but they keep doing the business away. Mark Bowen after 60 minutes. Spurs 3, Queen's Park Rangers 2. Fabulous game by all accounts at White Hart Lane. Gary Lineker after 32 and 38 minutes. And then Queen's Park Rangers struck back. I mean, bear in mind that Spurs squandered a 2-goal lead at Norwich last week. David Bardsley and the boss, Trevor Francis, after 71 minutes, he got the equaliser, and then Gary Lineker with just 3 minutes to go with his 3rd of the game with the winner. Crystal Palace 2, Everton 1. We still haven't actually got confirmation of that. Ian Wright and Alan Pardew for Crystal Palace, and then inevitably Mike Newell for Everton, his 7th in 9 games, celebrating his international call-up this week to the England squad, and that is now confirmed. Crystal Palace 2, Everton 1. They lost at home, of course, to Liverpool last week. Nottingham Forest 2, Charlton 0. Brian Laws got the first, then Lee Chapman. Manchester City 3, Luton 1. After beating Manchester United 5-1 last week, David Oldfield got the first after 11 minutes. Ian Bishop, who also scored against United last week after 45. Kingsley Black had scored just before that, actually. Luton hadn't won away. Ian Brightwell made sure that that situation stayed the same with his goal after 60 minutes. Aston Villa 1, Derby 0. Just 1 goal there in the Midlands Derby. David Platt, the scorer, after 45 minutes. Actually, it was the last kick of the first half. No goals at Hillsborough, Sheffield Wednesday 0, Coventry 0, so still 2 goals only for Sheffield Wednesday this season. And finally in the First Division, Southampton 2, Wimbledon 2. Eric Young got the first for Wimbledon. Matthew Letitia equalised. In fact, he got 2 in the match, equalising Dennis Wise's goal, which gave Wimbledon a 2-1 lead after 72 minutes, 2 for Letitia. And in the B&Q Scottish Premier League, the leaders this morning, Aberdeen rather, Celtic were just 2 points behind, so they remain 2 points behind because of that draw. Alex McLeish after 46 minutes and Joe Miller after 61. He'd been in dispute with the club. He'll welcome that goal. And Maurice Johnston was the match winner for Rangers against Hearts. Right, 1 rugby league game in the First Division today. 2 of the pre-season championship outsiders, Warrington and Castleford. Well, here's the score. 32-10 to Warrington. They go top of the league as a result of that, and they did it in style. Here are 2 of their second half tries. Commentator Clive Tilsley.
Stedman kicking. Oh, here's a chance for David Lyon. Now let's see if that sprint training comes in. Breaks the first tackle, and Stedman somehow held him on the line, or did he? No. Lyon's over. Here's Forster running in the corner. Bolt by Larder, but Tony Thornley's in. And Warrington's street clear. Second try of the half. It's Tony Thornley's 3rd of the season. And no way back surely for Castleford now.
It wasn't 32-10 the final score. Our first football report of the afternoon. Millwall unbeaten at home, Norwich unbeaten away and unbeaten at home. I suppose something had to give. Norwich came out on top, 1-0, Andy Cheal. It took defender Mark Bowen to show the strikers how it's done, and his 60th minute goal won the match for Norwich. The visitors survived the first half pummelling from Millwall forwards. Sheringham headed against the post in the 3rd minute and saw a right footer well saved by Brian Gunn. Other efforts from Cascarino and Carter were wide or high. The second half saw Norwich give as good as they got, and in the end what they got was 3 points, reward for a thoroughly professional job. Millwall 0, Norwich 1. More reports later, but now a full classified check on all today's scores in England and in Scotland with Bob Colton.
Thanks, Elton, and we begin with Barclays League Division 1. Aston Villa 1, Derby County 0. Chelsea 0, Arsenal 0. Crystal Palace 2, Everton 1. Manchester City 3, Luton 1. Millwall 0, Norwich 1. Nottingham Forest 2, Charlton 0. Sheffield Wednesday 0, Coventry 0. Southampton 2, Wimbledon 2. And a match not on the pools, Tottenham 3, Queen's Park Rangers 2. Division 2, Blackburn 5, Barnsley 0. Bradford City 1, Swindon 1. Hull 1, Newcastle 3. Ipswich 2, Stoke 2. Oldham 1, Leicester 0. Oxford United 1, Bournemouth 2. Plymouth 2, Brighton 1. Port Vale 0, Leeds 0. Sunderland 1, Sheffield United 1. Watford 1, Middlesbrough 0. West Ham 2, West Bromwich Albion 3. And Wolves 5, Portsmouth 0. Division 3, Blackpool against Birmingham is a late result. Bolton 1, Mansfield 1. Brentford 3, Wigan 1. Bristol Rovers 0, Reading 0. Chester 0, Fulham 2. Huddersfield 2, Leyton Orient 0. Northampton 0, Bury 1. Rotherham 4, Cardiff 0. Shrewsbury 0, Crewe 0. Swansea 0, Notts County 0. And Walsall 1, Preston 0. Division 4, Aldershot 4, Scunthorpe 2. Carlisle 1, Colchester 0. Chesterfield 2, Rochdale 1. Grimsby 0, Hereford 2. Halifax 1, Exeter 2. Hartlepool 0, Doncaster 6. Maidstone 2, Cambridge United 2. Peterborough 1, Gillingham 1. Southend 2, Lincoln 0. Stockport against Scarborough is a late result. Torquay 0, Burnley 1. And York 1, Wrexham 0. GM Vauxhall Conference, Darlington 2, Kettering 1. Kidderminster 3, Chorley 1. Merthyr Tydfil 2, Macclesfield 3. Sutton United 2, Northwich 1. And 3 games not on the pools, Telford 4, Farnborough 2. Welling 3, Enfield 0. And Yeovil 0, Altrincham 0. B&Q Scottish League Premier Division. Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1. Dundee United 0, St Mirren 0. Hibernian 2, Dunfermline 2. Motherwell 3, Dundee 0. And Rangers 1, Hearts 0. Scottish Division 1, Airdrie 2, Alloa 1. Ayr 0, Partick 0. Clyde 1, Hamilton 1. Falkirk 6, Albion Rovers 0. Meadowbank 1, St Johnstone 3. Morton 1, Forfar 1. And not on the pools, Wraith 1, Clydebank 0. Scottish Division 2, again these games are not on the pools. Arbroath 2, Queen's Park 2. Berwick 2, Montrose 0. Brechin 1, Stenhurstmuir 2. Cowdenbeath 1, Dumbarton 5. Queen of the South 2, East Stirlingshire 2. Stirling 0, Kilmarnock 1. And finally Stranraer 1, East Fife 1.
Thanks, Bob. Here are the score draws. 8, 10, 12, 17, 22, 38, 39, 48, 50, 55, and 58. Here are the no-score draws. 2, 7, 16, 24, 29, 30, 49, and 54. So, no goals at Stamford Bridge this afternoon. Chelsea second this morning, Arsenal in fourth place. Arsenal, of course, could have gone top had they won. Andrew Gidley.
So a point apiece for these London rivals, and Liverpool, despite not playing this afternoon, still top Division 1 on goal difference. Chelsea had their defensive kingpin Graham Roberts carried off after only 17 minutes in front of a crowd of more than 31,000, following an awkward, if not entirely malicious, challenge by Arsenal's Perry Grove, which earned him a booking. David Rocastle then saw his spot kick kept out by a marvellous save from Chelsea keeper Dave Besant. This after Kenneth Munku had inexplicably handled when unchallenged in the area. And then in the dying minutes of the first half, Nigel Winterburn headed off the line from Kevin Wilson. In the second half, Chelsea kept pressing forward, with Dickens and Hazard working feverishly in midfield. Kerry Dixon went close to adding to his 150 league goals on 2 occasions, but substitute John Bumpsy came closest to breaking the deadlock with a rasping drive just over John Lukic's crossbar. It finished Chelsea 0, Arsenal 0.
Well, there's the top of Division 1. Liverpool still top, no game, top on goal difference. Chelsea stay second after their goalless draw there, and Millwall drop down 2 after losing 1-0 at home to Norwich. Right, well, here's the Scottish news. We've heard about Rangers and Mo Johnston's goal there. Hibernian goes second despite being held to a 2-2 draw at home by Dunfermline. Keith Houchin equalised an early goal by Dunfermline's Craig Robertson, but Robertson scored again after John Collins had put Hibs ahead in the second half. Motherwell had no problems against Dundee after Steve Kirk had given them an early lead. Colin O'Neill and Davy Cooper scored the others as Motherwell won 3-0. Well, no goals at Tannadice, where bottom place St Mirren held on for a draw against Dundee United. Let's have a look at the top of the Premier Division in Scotland. So that's Aberdeen, who drew 1-1 with Celtic today. They're still in front by 2 points from Hibernian, Motherwell, Celtic and Hearts. Rangers now up in 6th place on 7 points. Well, now the second division news here in England. Ian Bryson came to the rescue of leaders Sheffield United with an equaliser at Roker Park after Sunderland had gone ahead with an own goal by United's Brian Deane. And John Anderson did a similar rescue job for Newcastle after Hull's Ian McParland had scored their first goal in 306 minutes of play. Substitute Gary Brazil and Mark McGee clinched Newcastle's first away win. Stoke manager Mick Mills returned to his old Ipswich patch looking for his first win of the season. He left with a point from a 2-2 draw thanks to second half goals from Lee Palin and Carl Saunders. Bernard McNally scored 2 goals for West Bromwich to help end West Ham's unbeaten home record, but Albion got a 3-2 win at home at the cost of having Gary Robson, Brian's brother, carried off with a suspected broken ankle. And finally, Blackburn's Simon Garner proved he still got that golden touch with a hat-trick in the 5-0 defeat at Barnsley. Blackburn are still unbeaten. Now they are in second place behind Sheffield United, just 2 points away from them. Newcastle in third place, followed by their northeast rivals Sunderland, and then Leeds, Brighton and West Ham. Oldham on 14 points in 8th place. Well, we've got 2 late results now. Blackpool 3, Birmingham 2, Stockport 3, Scarborough 2. It'll be interesting to see if Keith Edwards got one of those goals. He joined Stockport on Thursday for £60,000. The league's leading goal scorer. No one scored more goals than Keith Edwards. We'll maybe find that one out. Right, let's see what's happened in the golf. The Dunhill Cup this afternoon. The United States beating Ireland 2-1. Mark Calcavecchia with a 69, the Open champion, beating Philip Walton. Tom Kite beating Christy O'Connor Jr. and Ronan Rafferty beating Curtis Strange. England losing 2-1, so the final will be between the favourites, the United States and Japan. Goal highlights from the First Division on ITV tonight at 10:20.